So good morning. So let me start today's lecture. Okay. So please log in into the WebCT system. So please open today's content. Today's content is 13-C-slide 1 and 2. Today's content is a 2 PDF. Okay. Okay. Everybody open this content. So today's topic is strings. So strings means a set of the characters. So usually treated as an array of character type data. Okay. So actually, I introduced what is a string and the string length function, and I also introduced some library function for string operation, and I also introduced some sample programs using string operation. Okay. So to explain, the string data is treated as array data of character type. Okay. So the declaration form for array data usually shown here. So data type and the array name and the size of the elements. Okay. So especially for treating string data, you can declare like this: character type is a character, and array type. And you have to also specify the size of the elements. So if you specify this 100, then you can treat the size of the string length is 0 to 99. Okay? So as I explained, if you specify the character x 100, the size is actually 100. The index is you can specify 0 to 99. Okay. So this is a very important. Index is occupied as a string 0 to size minus 2. That means just a moment. So I will explain. So if we specify a string, for example, hi, h, capital H, small I, and exclamation mark. So actually, this string size is 3. However, this string needs 4 size of data because so usually so backslash 0 is added the end of the string. So because this is very important. So because this is treated as a stop character of the string. Okay, if you omit these characters, special characters, the actual length of string you cannot find. Program, the compiler cannot find the actual size. So, for example, this is a simple cases. So, using the string copy functions, you can store this string into this arrays. So the first element of this string is a capital H. Second is a small I, and third one is a exclamation mark. The fourth one should be these characters. Okay, if you put these special characters, the computer can find the end of the string. If this character does not put, is not located at the end of the string, the compiler or program cannot find the end of the string. Okay, so this is a very important character. So instead of using these string copy functions, you can directly store each character into each element like this. So however, as I explained, you have to specify the end of the string. This case is a third element and no fourth element. Index is 3. Okay, this character should be \0. Okay, okay, can you understand? Okay, so this is very important.
This one says that the size of the S1 array is 100, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what you put only 4 enter is okay?
So this case is only 3 character string. Fourth. No. So of course, this array data has a 100 size. So you can store the
Until 100. Until 98.
at most 99 characters.
Why?
So because the remaining 1 character should be the, okay. So if you store any string data by a keyboard input using a scanf functions, so in this case you have to specify the %s is a code. So this corresponds to the string. So this code is a small s. Okay. So x is a variable specified by this line. Okay. And also you can calculate the string length using the string length functions. Okay. So this return value is the actual size of the string. Okay. So this case is the length is actual string usually not includes a special character \0. So for example, if you specify this, if you use these functions, the length becomes 3. Okay. So this character is not included. So for example, using printf function, you can print out the string length by specifying this form. Okay, the string length is just a character, a string, and %s are treated as a x, correspond to x, and the %d correspond to a variable n. Okay. So usually you can use a scanf function for store any string data into a variable, any variable of character type array data. So however, as shown here, usually you cannot enter space characters if you use scanf functions. So usually when using scaling functions, space is treated as separators. Okay, so you cannot enter the space character. So instead of using scaling functions, so getChar function exists. Okay, so already I explained you can use like this. So in this case, the x variable x as a content of variable x become a character, a certain character, just you input by the keyboard. Okay. And also, if you display any character on the computer screen, you can use putChar. Okay. So this is the actual program, very simple program. As shown here, this program accepts any string data and output its lower cases using this library function. Two lower function is convert from the capital letter into the small letters. Okay. So the only variable c is defined as an integer type. So because the return value of getChar function is integer type, so somehow confused. So actually, character data is integers type data. So So if you specify the character A variable, then in the computer memories, one box is prepared. So this size is 1 byte. Okay, and okay, so no. So this is almost the same as unsigned. Yeah, no. So actually, this variable need 1 byte. Okay, so actually character data become 0 to 255 integer values. Okay. So any character data is represented as 0 to 255 decimal integers. Okay. So if you use integer c, this also can treat this size of data. Okay. So this case is C, the content of C become any character. Okay, character code actually ASCII code. So if so I'm omit. Actually, this is a \n. Okay. So if you enter, so until you enter the \n, okay, that means the return key. So this while loop continues. Okay, so this program can accept each character data. Okay, by your keyboard input. Then each character converted into the lowercase using these functions. Okay, then display such a character, such a small character code display on the computer screen using put function. Okay. So this is almost the same program as the previous program. This case is you specify the string data type as an array of character data. Okay, and you also use the index variables I. So this case is using getChar functions. You can store each characters inputted by keyboard, the different element of these arrays. So actually, the position place is shifted 1 byte, 1 byte. Okay, using I++ operators. I already explained I++. I equal I plus 1. Okay. So actually, so initial value of I is 0. Okay. So first execution of this form, I is 0. So the index, the element position is index 0. Okay, so firstly this function called the return value of this function stores in the first element of this array data. So index 0. Okay. So after that, this index variable I automatically incremented. So okay. So executing this substitutions, I value become a 1. Okay. So next. Okay. So next also, the input character is not a carriage return key. So this function also call executed. So second time is I is a 1. So, okay. So the next element, the content of next element become input data. Okay. So if you enter the return key, so this become false. So this the program executes this while loop, and this line will be executed. Okay, so this is very important. As I explained, you have to store the stop characters, okay, \0 as an end of the string. Okay, okay. So actually, I is automatically incremented 1. So you have to substitute 1 and subtract it from the I, 1 from I. Okay. So if you enter the A, B, C return, so X A, B, C, return. So, however, this, if you enter this carriage return, the program exits this while loop, and this line will be executed. So, however, So this, so when I exit this loop, the I is 4. So because the I++ is automatically incremented 1. So executing this substitution, the I become a 4. So however, you have to enter the stop characters into this element. So you have to subtract the 1 from the I variable. Okay? So I minus 1. You understand? So finally, the content of this character type array data will be displayed on the computer screen using printf function. So this sheet shows I already explained. Okay, so actually computer string consists of the 8 characters. So the length become 8. In this case, 11. So as I explained, the stop character does not include the stop character. Okay. So this is also I already shown the program. So the detailed explanation shown here. So not so difficult. So especially this should show the usage of the string length functions, one of the string operation functions. Okay. So do you have any question? Maybe no question. Okay. So there are some library functions for string operation. If you need the size of the string, you can use the string length function. Also, if you make a copy and store of string data into any string data variable, you can use the string copy function. Okay, this case is this variable string data, the content become this content of string data. Okay, so copy direction of copy is like this, and string cat is a string concatenation. Concatenation means join. Okay, so using this function you can concatenation. So actually example will be shown later. And if you compare two strings, you can use the string comp functions. Okay? And the string, you can find the substring. You can find this string exit one no inside this string. Okay? So actual program I will show. Okay, this is the example of the how to use the string copies. Okay, this case is S1. A content of S1. Now you can enter any string into this string data, and using string copy function, such data will be make a copy and store this string data. Okay, not so difficult. And second program is how to use a concatenation. Using these 4 lines, you can enter 2 strings, 1 string and 2 string, and using string concatenation functions, you can merge, you can join the first string and the second string. Okay, so after executing these functions, contents of this string data become joined concatenated string. Okay, so the content of this string are not changed. And third example is how to use a comparison. Okay, compare. So if you when you can enter 2 strings, and using string comp functions, you can compare 2 strings. 2 strings equal or larger or smaller. Okay, so return value is integer type. Okay, so n variable n is defined as an integer type. So if the return value is 0, the 2 string is completely same. Okay, if the return value is less than 0, the first string is less than second argument string. Okay, so such an order is defined as a dictionary order. Okay. And the fourth example is how to use the search. So string functions. You can enter 2 strings. So if this string included inside this string, this return value of this function is not 0, non-zero. Non-zero かな end of file かな just a moment, I will check this later. So if this string included inside this string, this function returns the position of this string inside this string. Okay. So S1 A, B, C, D, E, F. S2 D, E. For example, the content of S1 is A, B, C, D, E, F. S2 D, E. So string S1, S2 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Address S1. Address の S1 の3かな。Yes. So actually, so this function returns the position of this data. So because they and this day is the same. Okay, so this string appears inside its position is here. So this function returns the address of this data Okay, so actually this position is a 0, index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. So S1, index 3, the content corresponds to these D characters. So however, this function returns the address of the data. So mark. Okay. So actually, maybe you can understand the using printf function. You can display the actual position of this string inside this one. So as I explained, this function returns position of this string data inside this data. Okay, so from the substitution from S1 substitution subtract S1 from the P. So this value become a position, actual position. In this case, this value return. Okay. So because S1 is the initial position of this array data. So actually, address of this data S1. Okay, so P is the address of this data. Okay, subtraction this position minus this position becomes difference of these two positions. That is 3. Okay. So this is the one caution when using string operations. Already you have to specify the size of the array data, especially treated as character data. For example, this case is 80 characters. If you use the scanf functions, you can enter any string into this string data. So, however, no limitations. You can enter the over 80 characters. Okay, if you enter such a long characters, any error occurs. Okay, so actually compiler cannot find such errors. Okay, so usually when executing this program, such error will be occur. Okay. So if you specify the how long you can enter, how long character, now how many characters you can enter. So for example, you can use this function fget functions. This case is the second argument is treated as the size of the actually you can enter the size of the characters. Okay. So the half part of today's content. This is the end. So today's exercise as shown here. I introduced some example programs using the string functions. So please enter such program. Actually, you can make a copy and paste. Then check the result of the execution. Okay. So I also continue to next slide. So the file input output is also very important, especially if you have any data in a file. So usually, big data are stored as a file in your file system. So file input output is very important. Okay, in your program, if you want to read or write any data from or to in a file, you have to use a file input output functions. Okay. So there are two types of the file, data file, text file and binary file. Okay. For example, image file. For example, JPEG file. Treated as binary data. So also the content mail or some documents are treated as text data. Of course, text data you can easily understand. However, binary data you cannot understand the contents of such file. So these are typical file input output functions already prepared as a library function. Okay, so whenever you use file input out functions, you have to call the fopen or file open. That means the file fopen functions. And also whenever after executing the file operations, you have to call these fclose operations. If you don't call these functions, so any system error occurs. Okay, and these four functions are especially for reading file, and these four functions are for writing file. Okay, so not so difficult to remember the function name. C means the characters, S means the string, F is a file, okay? And get or put. Get means read, and put means write. Okay, so you can easily imagine the actual functionality of this function. Okay, so if you want to read any characters from a file, you can use fget function. So I will show how to use read and write any data from to file. So first you have to prepare any data, text data, like this. So this text data consists of 3 lines. Each line includes name, space, and birthday, any date, and space and address, actual address. So this is an example program for reading such a text data. This case is the previous text data is name, like this, book1.text. Okay. So as I explained, you have to call fopen function before using the actual file operations. Okay, so file name and read or write mode. This case is reading mode R. Okay, and if any error occurs, this function returns null symbol. Okay, null, null is a special characters Okay. So special characters, special symbols, not characters. So some function returns null symbols. For example, any error occurs. In this case, fopen function. For example, this function cannot find this text file. So this function returns this symbol. So in this case, any error occurs. Okay. So if the program can open correctly this file, this while loop will be executed using fget functions. Okay. You can read as a string each string as a reading unit. Okay. So such size is 100 characters. And let data are usually stored into any variables. This case is a line variable. Okay. So this is the file pointers. So you have to specify the file pointers. This file pointer is prepared using the fopen functions. Okay. Then using scan f function. So this is the new functions. So s means also string. So let data is stored in this variable line. So this function can find the same string variables according to this format strings. SSS means 3 strings. These 3 strings correspond data actually into the variable name, birth, address. So name, birth, address are also defined as a character string data. Okay. And using printf functions, actual name and address and name, only name and address will be displayed on the computer screen. So finally, you have to call fclose functions. Please.
Where we should put the file?
Where? Where? In this case, only read the file. So you have to. So usually this file should be located in the same directories of these execution programs.
The source or the debug or
no execution file. Same directories. So later I will show the actual. Okay. So this case is there are any space treated as separators. Okay. So this is the same program, and only this sheet shows any explanation detail. Okay. Okay. This also explain and okay. So I also explained reading or writing mode. That if you specify R, become a read mode. If you specify W, so write mode. Okay. So open the file, read one line. Okay. So this is actual behavior of the program. So this program you already prepare this text file and locate it in the file system. So the program reads each line using fget function. Okay. So after the program analyze the content of this line using scan function. Then corresponding data into the corresponding variables, like this. Okay. So this is a somehow important thing. So using fget functions, you can read string data from a text file. So this function automatically assign the \0 stop characters. Okay, like this. So using fget function, the second argument is the size of the string actually you read from a file, text file. So if you specify 100, as I explained, this function automatically adds the \0 stop characters. So actually you can read the 99 character from the file. Okay, like this. Okay, so this also I explained. So this is the different program using the file copy. No. This program is for file copies. Okay, another program. So if you, in this case, you have to prepare input text data, any text file. Its name is input.text. Okay, using fopen function, you can read the content of this file. Okay, if you don't have any errors, this line also executed. Also using fopen functions, you can open the another text file. In this case, you have to specify the write mode. Okay, W. So if your file system, in your file systems, this same file name file exists, the contents of such file automatically overwrite. Okay. So if you don't have any errors, the next line will be executed. Using while loop, you can read each lines and write the corresponding line into the output file. Okay. So using fget function, you can read each line from the input file. Okay. So such data will be stored in the string data line. Okay. So if the content of the input file become empty, okay, so this function returns null symbol. Okay. So you can check the contents, the position. This function finds the end of file or not. So if no, using fput function, you can write the same contents into the output file. Okay. So if this function finds the end of file, the program will exit of this from this loop and to fclose function, also called. Okay. So this is the same program, however, using fget, not fget gets. In this case, fget get c function. So previous program make a copy of the input file to output file by line by line. So this case is almost a copy from the input file to output file, character by character. Okay, the difference is just that. So in this content, I only introduced 2 examples. Okay, example program. So today's exercise, please make this program. Actually, you can make a copy. Then please execute. Then to check the behavior of this program.